Hey everybody, how are you doing? Tekking and Barry back again, and I got a pretty simple video for you guys today, but it's something I'm really excited to do, okay? So with the release of One Piece, episode 1000, okay, we have a new opening to One Piece. This will be opening number 24, but it's not exactly a new opening because it is the first opening. That's right, we are the iconic One Piece opening, so come aboard and bring along all your hopes and dreams. Oh yes, Luffy. Okay, everybody, did you bring along your hopes and dreams? How would you feel if you were the one dude that were like, all right, let's go, let's pack, Luffy's like, come along, and you jump on, and you're like, 3 miles down the Grand Line, and you're like, crap, I forgot all my hopes and dreams. Just... Now that just reminds me of that episode of SpongeBob SquarePants where it's like they go to the graveyard and it's like, here lies Squidward's hopes and dreams. So I don't know where I was going with this joke, but the point is, they redid the first opening. Not just like it's the same song, but they also added updated animation, including all of the Straw Hats wearing their current outfits in the story, and it just looks really cool. So I watched the first opening and then the newer opening, and there's already videos on YouTube that have like a side-by-side comparison, so I'll be doing that sort of, but I'll also be actually commentating on the differences and, what I think about them, okay? Pretty simple concept. I don't really know how interesting it'll be, but I really wanted to do it because I love it when anime that are especially like long-running, not just anime, but like TV shows, movies, any sort of long-running franchise, I love it when they go back and redo stuff from like the very beginning. So the idea that they remade We Are looks incredible, okay? And it's the same song. Like, it's not like they got the singer in and redid it. It's the exact same song from the first opening. It's just the animation that's different. So yeah, let's start off. Okay, hey everybody, we're in split screen mode right now. Okay, so the way I have this set up is that the old opening should be on the left side of the screen, and the new opening should be on the right side, and it should be very clearly labeled so you don't get confused, okay? So I can't play the entire opening, but we can do still shots, so let's do that. Okay, so starting off, of course, the opening of We Are begins with the iconic narration over the scroll, featuring the execution of Gold Roger at Logtown with his speech, wealth, fame, power, Gold Roger achieved this and everything else the world had to offer. And this is pretty much exactly the same in terms of like the scroll laying out. Yeah, there's differences when it comes to aspect ratio, as well as the newer opening touches up the scroll's artwork a bit, as you can see right here in this crowd scene. You can see the colors are a little bit more vibrant and everything, just the edges of everything seem a little bit more clear. But they really did their best to just show the exact same kind of thing, because this is the iconic opening. This is what One Piece fans think of when they think of an opening of One Piece. The scroll unfurling, there's Gold Roger, he has his little speech, and then as we see, the Great Pirate Era commences with all the ships unfurling their sails. We see the Jolly Rogers, and they sail off into the horizon. So once again, pretty much the exact same thing in terms of the ships sailing off, except the aspect ratio changes at this point. So the newer opening starts at 4:3 aspect ratio, the same way that the first opening did way back in the 90s, because like televisions were 4:3. But now, of course, we have widescreen, and so this is the moment in the opening when it switches from 4:3 to 16:9, and it expands into the high definition, widescreen format. And it's a perfect time to do it when all the ships are sailing off into the sea. And I love it because it sort of creates like an optical illusion when the ships are all sailing out like into the Grand Line as the aspect ratio expands and the scene, stretches outward. It's like this cool effect, and I just like that they did that. Next up is the scene with Luffy running on the cliff and then jumping off of it. This is pretty much the exact same scene shot for shot, except Luffy is now wearing his Wano attire with his cool cape and everything. We also see scenes at this point with Zoro, Nami, Usopp, and Sanji, the first Straw Hats that Luffy recruits during the East Blue. So this is switched up with all of the Straw Hats, except it keeps the same music beats. So it's like that music beat of like da-da-da. So you have 4 beats, da-da-da. However, now you have like 9 extra Straw Hats to include. So what happens is Zoro and Nami are in the first beat, and then Usopp and Sanji are in the second, Chopper and Robin are in the third, and then they have to cram Frankie, Brook, and Jinbei all into the last one, okay? So it's like double screens and then a triple screen for the last one, da-da-da, and then there's all the Straw Hats there. Then you have the scene with Luffy stretching out his arm and grabbing onto the mast of the Going Merry in the original opening, and on the Thousand Sunny, which is of course the Straw Hats' current ship in the new opening. Then we get the title card! One Piece! And the logo might change depending on like what dub or what like version, what country you're watching it in. It's pretty much the exact same logo, except in the newer opening though, they add this really cool lens flare and like sparking effect and like a neat transition because it's new and shiny pretty much. Yeah, that's pretty much it there. Then we have the Sea King scene, and I think this is one of the scenes that they pretty much copied exactly right. Like, I didn't even really, I mean, yeah, the animation's a little bit better, but like the animation on each of the Sea Kings, like I was watching this to see if they included some new Sea Kings in the mix or whatever, but no, it seems pretty much the exact same scene from both entries. The only real difference is that it's the Mary in the original and the Sunny in the current, but all of the Sea Kings that are sailing next to the Straw Hats ship are the same, and they have the same positions and everything like that, so that one's pretty much exactly the same. However, the next scene, and I starred two scenes here because there's two scenes in particular that they completely changed, and they added new scenes in, okay? So the next scene after the Sea Kings is the scene in the original where Luffy is kind of hanging off the figurehead of the Mary. He's kind of upside down and he's watching the Sea Kings as they're traveling next to the Straw Hats ships, and it's like, you know, the camera pans and it's like toward the horizon and Luffy's upside down like, wow, this is the start of a great adventure. In this version, it has Luffy running toward the camera as he ages up. So we first see him as a young boy during his flashback with Ace and Sabo wearing like the 56 shirt, and then he ages up to age 17 when he starts his adventure with the Straw Hats, and then he ages up one more time, so he's currently age 19 and his Wano attire where he is right now in the story, okay? And it ends with him landing on the figurehead of the Thousand Sunny and staring off into the horizon. So the ending of it is pretty much the same, but the whole thing with Luffy like hanging on the figurehead and staring off, that's updated to have like Luffy running through his timeline, which I think is a really cool idea because it's like, we've come so far, these characters have been through so much, it's been over 20 years, so many crazy things have happened with these characters, but we're still on the cruise, we're still on the adventure, right? It's still happening. Then we have the sort of cartoony scene where we see like a little clip art version of the Straw Hats ship sailing around the globe, and in the original, of course, it's the Mary, now it's the Sunny. It's the same basic thing. Even the writing in the background on the map is the same, it's just been touched up a bit. It was gibberish anyway, it really doesn't indicate anything, but yeah, that's pretty much the same scene, didn't really change much there. Then we have the scene, oh, there's also a scene transition that kind of glows in the center, so it's like the Straw Hats ship along the little map, and then we have like a little glow effect that kind of expands. Now, this was the other scene that they completely kind of revamped because they sort of had to, okay? There's just a lot more characters now that are members of the Straw Hats than there used to be, right? So this was the scene in the original when we kind of moved the camera around the deck of the Going Merry as the original Straw Hats fight like an invading pirate crew, okay? So like Zoro's got his swords out, there's the scene where Sanji, like, you know, he does the handstand and kicks everybody down, Usopp takes his original slingshot and fires the egg at somebody's face, and he's just like, wait, what? Oh, it's just egg, and then Nami bonks him on the head with her original staff and he gets knocked out. That was the original scene, okay? And it was a nice little fight scene with the original Straw Hats. But now we have 10 Straw Hats. So instead of doing an updated version of this where like all the Straw Hats are brawling on the deck of the Sunny, which might be a little bit too chaotic to include, they have simple scenes where each of the Straw Hats jump in front of the camera and kind of show off their signature attacks, while in the background a bunch of different scenes from previous episodes, like a collage, you know, is playing in the background relating to said characters. So when we see Jinbei jump in, Jinbei uses like Fishman Karate, we see an image of Fisher Tiger behind him. Frankie shows up, you know, he fires off his guns and his lasers and everything. We see a scene of Tom with Sanji, he's using Diablo Jambe, he has a scene with Reiju and his mother in the background, and they're all updated wearing their current Wano outfits, okay? So that was those two scenes, the scene with Luffy, you know, running through his timeline, and this scene with the Straw Hats fighting with the montage, those were the two scenes that they completely had to revamp and they added to this opening just because there's way too many Straw Hats now to include in the same way they did before. Now we have the scene where Luffy punches out the Lord of the Coast, okay? In this scene, it's changed to him using Ryuo to fight against Kaido. However, there's one crucial difference here. In the original, Luffy really does take his Gum Gum pistol and boom! boom, we see the scene of him actually connecting, punching out the Lord of the Coast. That poor Lord of the Coast, he's been punched out in so many versions of this story. But in the updated form, we actually see Luffy going to hit Kaido in his dragon form. However, it doesn't actually connect. The scene just ends with Luffy reaching out his arm, almost attempting to attack Kaido, but we don't actually see the scene with, like, Luffy connecting with Kaido's face, like, oh, like, that would have been really cool if it was side by side, but we don't see that. The next scene is really cool. So this next moment was another one of the beats, like, da-da-da, but it was the enemies or the villains the Straw Hats faced against in the East Blue Saga. So it went Buggy, then Kuro, and then Krieg, and they are replaced with the Yonko, or at least 3 of the Emperors. So Buggy is replaced with Kaido. Sort of a downgrade, if you ask me. Buggy is obviously more dangerous than Kaido. Kuro is replaced with Big Mom, and Krieg is replaced by Blackbeard, okay? Which honestly just makes me want to see those characters encounter each other. I want to see Kaido fighting against Buggy. I want to see Kuro of 100 plans go up against Big Mom. And I want to see Krieg like, alright everybody, I'm Dawn Krieg. I'm back at it again. It took me 2 years to rebuild my pirate fleet, but I'm gonna be king of the pirates now. And then Blackbeard shows up, and we see that interaction. That would be really fun. Krieg is just maybe arrogant enough to really get along with Blackbeard, but Blackbeard might also just kill him. Who knows? So that was really cool. Now we have just the group shot with all the Straw Hats, you know, on the deck as Luffy lands in front of them. And this is once again just updated to include all of the Straw Hats on the deck of the Sunny, Wano outfits, Luffy lands. It's pretty much the exact same scene shot for shot there. Then we have more, not necessarily all enemies from the East, but more characters from the East that are introduced in another da-da-da. So now we have Arlong, who is replaced by Kid and Law in a split screen. Then Alvida, who is replaced by Yamato and Boa Hancock. And I'm actually really happy that not just Yamato, but also Boa is here as well. It's like Boa has a place in this new opening. That might give more belief that Yamato will become the next Straw Hat. I'm fine with that. But she's there, and Boa is there. And then we have Smoker being replaced by Rayleigh and Dragon in another split screen. Fun thing is, in the original opening, this is actually where Dragon first appeared in the opening. Okay, that was like dun-dun-dun, and then we see a face of him at Logtown, okay? And the very last beat where Dragon originally was, we see a scene with Sabo and Ace. We see Sabo standing in the foreground, and then Ace kind of standing back. You know, we don't see his face. He's standing with his back to the camera, but we see his tattoo of the Whitebeard crew. Really cool scene there. Then we just have the scene of the Jolly Roger of the Straw Hats flying in the wind. A little bit of a glare and like lens flare effect is added in the newer one. Nothing really different there. This is a scene that's kind of different, and I sort of like this transition better in the original, but it's the scene where Luffy is on the deck and he takes off his straw hat and he's just kind of twirling it on his finger. And in the original, the hat, we like zoomed into the hat, and as Luffy is twirling it, it sort of lands on Shanks's head, and that leads into the scene with Shanks and the red hair pirates and their little cameo in the opening. In the updated version, it just kind of zooms in on the hat, and then it fades into a scene of Shanks giving Luffy the hat, and then it fades again to the scene with the red hair crew. I just like the transition a little better because it was cool, because the hat actually, like, you know, falls off of Luffy's finger as he's twirling it, and it lands right on Shanks's head and he pops out. Here it's just a crossfade, but whatever, it still looks cool. And the only difference here otherwise is that the red hair crew in the original were the way that they appeared during Luffy's flashback at the beginning of the story. So they appeared like Shanks was like 27 and Ben Beckman and everybody were like younger, and here it's the red hair crew, but just like as they are right now in the current story, in their current age. Then we have a scene where I kind of forgot, but it's a scene here in the original where it kind of looks like the Straw Hats are taking a selfie. It kind of looks like Luffy grabbed his phone and he's just like, hey, Zoro, Nami, come together. I just got my first crew. Let's take a selfie. I'll put it up on my Insta, you know? So that's really cool, right? And then this is just updated to include all of the Straw Hats in a group selfie together. That's nice. And then we have the scene where Sanji and Usopp were kind of standing off. You know, Sanji's smoking a cigarette. Usopp's just like, yeah, we go that way. And it's just included here to have Brook, Robin, and Chopper also in the scene as well. And then the final shot of the opening, they didn't really change much here. We have the final departing shot of the stern of the Mary. In this case, it's the stern of the Sunny as it's sailing off into the horizon. And then a news coup, a seagull, just flies past it. And then boom, One Piece! And then that's the end, okay? And so that's pretty much the same, except for including the Sunny, obviously. All right, and so yeah, that's all of the changes that I could notice in the opening of One Piece in the new version of We Are, opening number 24 from opening 1. If I missed anything, let me know. Once again, I'm not really sure how exciting this video really was, and it was a little short, but I just wanted to make a video about this, because I really like that type of shit whenever stuff gets updated in this way, and it really just gives us an idea of, like, wow, we've really been on this adventure for a long time. And while we still have a lot of time left with Luffy and the Straw Hats, you know, it's winding down. That's something else. Like, it is winding down, a lot of celebrations, but I don't think we're gonna be here in another 20 years. I'm pretty sure the story will be, that's always been debated, you know, 4, 5, 6 years or whatever, but I don't think it's gonna be like another decade or anything like that. But anyway, yeah, those are all the differences from opening 24 to opening 1. Thanks for watching, everybody. This will be Tekking, this will be Barry, signing out. We are!